Ben,
Gotcha.
Oh,
Ben.
I wrote it right on your thing.
Oh, down there. Okay,
Okay. We got it.
okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Village of Carpentersville regular board meeting, February 13th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Please call roll.
Trustee Frost,
Present.
trustee Malone.
Here.
Trustee Garcia.
Here.
Trustee Sandoval,
Here.
trustee Abbott,
Here.
trustee Richardson,
Here.
President Skillman.
Here, please, or no, don't stand yet. Hold on. I need a motion actually tonight to appoint Ben Mason as the recording secretary.
I'll make a motion to appoint Ben as clerk.
I'll second.
Have a motion in a second. Can I do a voice?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Okay, we're good. Please stand for pledge allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay.
Jack. Who seconded it?
Well,
Who seconded
I
it?
guess.
Dickie.
Trustee Abbott.
First appointment we have tonight is for Michael Savaggio to our Planning and Zoning Committee, term expiring December 2027. I need a motion.
I'll make
please.
a motion to appoint Mr. Salvaggio to the Planning and Zoning Committee. I'll second.
A motion by trustee Frost, second by trustee Malone. Roll call, please.
Trustee Frost,
Yes.
trustee Malone,
Yes.
trustee Garcia,
Yes.
trustee Sandoval,
Yes.
trustee Abbott,
Yes.
trustee Richardson,
Yes.
President Skillman.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Our next appointment is Jeff Stevens to the Planning and Zoning Committee, term expiring December 2028.
I'll motion to approve the appointment of Mr. Jeff Stevens to Planning and Zoning Committee.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. A motion by trustee Garcia, second by trustee Sandoval. Roll call, please.
Trustee Frost,
Yes.
trustee Malone,
Yes.
trustee Garcia,
Yes.
trustee Sandoval,
Yes.
trustee Abbott,
Yes.
trustee Richardson,
Yes.
President
Garcia.
Skillman.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. And public comment. Do we have anybody?
No one has signed up. No.
No? Okay,
Shocker.
all right. Next item on the agenda will be consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless the trustee so requests. In that event, the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda.
President Skillman,
Yes, sir.
can I remove letter E for further discussion, please?
Yes. And we'll move that to new business. We'll add that to new business, letter E. And do we have a motion for the?
I'll motion to approve the consent agenda items A through J minus E.
I'll second.
A motion by trustee Garcia, seconded by trustee Sandoval. Call roll, please.
Trustee Frost,
Present.
trustee Malone,
Yes.
trustee Garcia,
Yes.
trustee Sandoval,
Yes.
trustee Abbott,
Yes.
trustee Richardson,
Yes.
President Skillman.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Manager O'Sullivan.
We have here tonight, Scott Bezecki, in charge of the Kane County Office of Emergency Management. Scott? Scott actually is we've asked him if he could be here to answer questions that trustees may have about the coordination of the response to the migrant issue. Thanks for being here.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. As Mr. Sullivan said, I am the Director of Emergency Management for Kane County. A little bit of my background, prior to taking this job 4 months ago, I was retired as a Deputy Chief with the North Aurora Police Department, where I spent 27 years, also the last 12 as Emergency Management Coordinator. So as you may know, the state of Texas began busing apparent asylum seekers to Chicago and other locations back in 2022. A lot of that probably went under the radar to in a lot of places, especially in the suburbs. To most people, that was a Chicago problem, and that's where it remained. In December, buses started with apparent asylum seekers started arriving in the suburbs, and the that was really December 2023 that began. In Illinois, the only landing zone where these people can come to get their services is in Chicago. It's funded by the state of Illinois and coordinated by the city of Chicago. So in December, we started getting buses arriving at metro stations throughout the suburbs. They arrived in Cook, DuPage, Lake, McHenry, Will, Kankakee, and Kane County. There also were 2 charter planes, one landing at O'Hare and one on December 31st in Rockford. And then they boarded buses chartered by the state of Texas and were taken to Chicago. In Kane County, we received 9 buses between December 19th and 23rd in Aurora, Elgin, and Elburn, and then none again until December 31st in Elgin. Those 10 buses had about 300 passengers total. Sometimes a handful of the passengers already had rides arranged with friends or family who picked them up and took them somewhere else. But the vast majority of them got off the bus, got on a train, and took the train into Chicago, be it the Ogilvie Transportation Center or Union Station, depending on which station they left from. And from there, they were routed to the landing zone located in Chicago. That happened almost without issue. In Kane County, there were no issues. In a few places around the suburbs, people were dropped off at a corner, a gas station or something. I believe that might have been 2 in the very early days of this. Since then, they've all been very orderly. They've been arriving at train stations, timing when the trains leave very closely so that their total amount of time they're there might be 15, 20 minutes. Where earlier on, they might have been getting there 2 hours and they were sitting on a bus waiting. So in contrast, though, so like I said, Kane County had 10 buses with around 300 passengers and nothing since December 31st. In contrast, about 3,000 people have arrived on over 70 buses in DuPage County and went to Chicago again without incident. And that's publicly information available on DuPage's website. This is all apparently funded and arranged by the state of Texas, with little to no notice of exactly when or where the buses are going to be arriving. In some cases, we may have an idea that buses are coming to the area, but we never are advised which suburb or which train station. Since December 1st, the suburbs have received around 200 buses, and like I said, all but a handful arrived at train stations. The vast majority boarded the train and got to the Chicago landing zone. Like I said, most 15 to 30 minutes at the train station. A lot of cases, they boarded a train and no one there even knew. And we found out because Metro informed us. Their train staff would inform us after the fact that, for instance, 30 people got on at such and such train station, and that's how the information has come in a lot of cases. Up till now, to my knowledge, there's been no impact to public safety in terms of the people from the bus causing problems or any of that. In all those cases, I don't even think it required a police response. In some cases, might have just been to coordinate getting on the bus. But since this really got going on a regular basis for the most of middle December until middle January, basically until that we got that really cold weather. It mostly was DuPage County. Like I said, Kane County only got a handful of buses, and that has continued up until recently. Since that cold snap, the number of buses has slowed down dramatically. I think there's been like a couple buses in the past 7 days. None of them have been anywhere close to Kane County. Mostly, close in eastern DuPage and some in Cook County is where they seem to have been coming. But the numbers, and I think that corresponds to, if you think back to middle of December, some of the news reports had border crossings at something like 12,000 a day for a while. And that was when the peak of the bus transports were happening. The most recent number I got, I don't know if this is still accurate, but was 2,000 or 3,000 per day My guess is I think that's dropped even further. I know if you're following the news, you see there's a lot of wrangling about the state of Texas and the federal government over where crossings are happening and all that. And my own layman knowledge of this says maybe that's having an impact. Either way, the number of buses coming have dramatically slowed. We have not had many cases at all of people being left somewhere. There have been a couple times where people were dropped off after the train stopped running. In one case in McHenry County, they were led into a train station to wait until the next train in the morning. And in another case in Lake County, they stayed on their bus and they were escorted by local police department down to the landing zone in Chicago. Basically, at this point, we are prepared if that happens in one of our communities to assist getting the people to a train if they're dropped off outside of train operating hours. We are able to coordinate with the city of Chicago to get them where they're needing to go. And if we get to that point, the Kane County Sheriff's Office has a task force in place that if we had to put them on buses and wait a few hours to the next train or transport them to the nearest train station, that's out there. There's, I also have a backup a private bus company, but in general, this has been something that's not required much public safety. Mostly on my part, it's been keeping aware of it and being ready if the phone rings to make some phone calls and help the people get where they're going. So with that, I think that's all I have as far as the situation. But I can take questions if you have any.
President Skillman.
Yeah, anybody have a question, trustee Frost?
Scott, thanks for coming.
Sure.
Yep. And I think you answered my question. You said there was 10 buses that came to Kane County with
Correct.
300 people.
Yep.
Any taxpayer money pay for those bus passes, or is that all
No,
Texas?
Aurora, the city of Aurora, I think they had a bus that came that what was happening was the bus driver had I don't know what you'd call it. They had a staff member. It may have been somebody employed or a contractor of the state of Texas that had a debit card. And when they crossed over into Illinois, they were supposed to have transferred funds for them to buy tickets. And in that case, it didn't happen. And I think in one case, they waited a little while until it finally happened. I think in the second case, it was getting into the evening and the city of Aurora just said, you know what, we're just going to buy 30 train tickets or whatever it was. And they just went ahead and did that to resolve it. But other than that, there's nothing on the part of Kane County, and I'm not aware of anything else anywhere else in the county.
Okay, one more. On the task force, if the task force does get involved, that's Kane County taxpayer money that's paying for that, correct?
Yeah, it would be the sheriff's office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is our money, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I understand politics. I totally get it, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Mhm.
I think that I'll forget it. I'm good. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you so much.
President Skillman,
Yes,
if I
sir.
may. You had mentioned, Scott, good afternoon. You had mentioned that there was no number of buses, so just 10 that were kind of located.
Mhm.
Do we know if at any point in time a bus stops somewhere and they get off without special task knowing?
No, if it happened, we don't know about it. I mean, my guess is they're landing at train stations because that's where the people need and really want to go. And that's some of the questions have been around, how do you know these people just didn't land in some town and then just start living there? And what I'm aware of is the people are coming with nothing. In most cases, they have no money. They may only have what they can carry in a small shopping bag. So that they're needing the immigration and other services that are provided at the landing zone in Chicago. And beyond that, I don't have a lot of knowledge of what happens there. I just know that's where they have to go to be able to get employment straightened out. And after that, where they go is the state of Illinois knows, I'm sure, but I don't.
One more question, sir, if I may. Is there any reason why they come to the suburbs instead of directly to Chicago?
I believe it was avoiding an ordinance in Chicago about the arrival of buses.
Yeah.
That's what's been alleged, is that they passed an ordinance regulating when buses could arrive, and instead of dealing with that, they just started landing in suburbs. And then since then, some of the suburbs have passed similar ordinances and kind of moved them around. And lately they've been coming only to like I said, DuPage and Cook County.
And this is, I'm sorry, one more.
Mm-hmm.
This is, they go direct to the train stations.
They're stopping at the train stations. So the state of Texas is sending them and they're arriving at train stations intentionally. Now, I don't know if they know when they leave Texas on the bus, which train station they're going to. If they do, they're not telling us. My guess is they don't know. They're probably being routed after they arrive in Illinois somewhere, but they're coming straight through it's roughly a 24-hour drive. I think it's maybe a 20-hour drive if you go straight through, but to allow some bathroom and food breaks, it takes them roughly 24 hours to get here. And so they're not stopping anywhere in hotels or any of that stuff. They're coming as fast as they can. And the people on the bus from the state of Texas are getting on an airplane and flying back and getting on another bus the next time. And at least that's the way it was when they were coming, several a day.
So there's some kind of an escort, call it that way, in the bus?
Yeah, there's somebody on
A
the
guide?
bus. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. A couple of questions I had was the vouchers too, but you handled that. Now, when you said someone got off the bus and went with friends or family, are they tracked or is that person on the
No,
bus
I think
know?
it's just we found out anecdotally,
Yeah.
'cause in some of the cases where they arrived and I'll just say the police or the city officials were there and were aware of it, they just know what the counts were, that there might have been 35 people on a bus and maybe 32 of them got on a train and the other 3 people
Went with
already had arrangement to
family
come
or
and get them. So at
friends
some
or
point
whatever.
they were able to reach out to somebody and say when and where they're arriving.
Yeah, interesting. So, yeah, so normally, guys, his job is actually to handle tornadoes response, active shooter response, direct traffic for us if we need help, right?
Yep. We were,
Not anything like what we're talking about. I mean, really,
I
this
believe
is,
we were here my first week on the job. I believe we were here. There was a shooting and that was my first work night and I came up to help with that. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the stuff we normally do is traffic control, but we're also coordination.
Right.
And so if Carpentersville has an incident and you've exceeded your resources, one of the phone calls that the chief might make is to us and say, hey, this is what I need. Can you get it to me? And that's normally what we do is support and coordination. And that's what we're doing in this situation. We're just monitoring it. And if a bus arrives at any time, we have a process for them to notify me just so I can coordinate with the city of Chicago to inform, basically we're informing them to say, let's say 30 people landed in Elgin and they got on a train at whatever time. And we tell them approximately what time they'll arrive in Chicago so that the Chicago people can arrange however they get them from the train station to the landing zone. And that's the coordination that we provide. And then as well as just data tracking.
yeah. Now, quick question. In Elgin, we had the tornadoes probably before you started.
Yep.
Last summer.
Yep. We're still working on the after action.
That's what I was
report, so
going
I'm
to
well
ask. If
aware
we
of
got
it.
after action report yet or
Yeah, we're
anything,
working on it.
how it went or anything,
Uh-huh.
but we can look at it later. That's
Yeah.
fine. But it was interesting though. I'm doing one of the jobs that the house that got hit by
Yeah.
the tornado. So west of Elgin, unincorporated, but okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good to meet you and
Mhm.
hopefully we won't see you too much more.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Scott,
your
do you have
time.
any business cards?
I do.
Okay,
Well, following,
yes.
you.
Thank you,
Mr.
sir.
Bezecki, you'd
Appreciate
like
it.
to-
Thank you.
Yeah, just give everyone one if you don't mind, if you have enough. Thank you.
Following you, Scott, is like following a banjo player at the county fair, so I don't know how I'm gonna top that.
Scott, if you need any help, it's perfectly trilingual, English, French, and Spanish.
Yes, so next time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oui, oui. Je parle tout
Ah oui.
français.
All right. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Just a couple items, bridge removal, railroad bridge contractors evaluating all options as high water levels on the Fox have impeded efforts on that, bridge removal. Basically the snow runoff has been a bit of a problem there. Police and fire departments combined awards night is Thursday, February 29th at 6:30 at the Bricks, 260 Washington Street, Carpentersville. And finally, a meeting with WT Group on the Iron Flats project last week was productive. We'll have a start date for garage demolition this month. That's it for this one.
Any questions?
Believe that when I see it.
I don't blame you.
Out there yet.
Yeah,
Do not blame you.
Done nothing.
yeah, well, we did have a permit, so, at that meeting, so, or at least Ben did, I don't know. So that was supposed to help them move along. Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is old business. We have no old business. New business, letter E. Approval of a resolution approving the change order number 1 for the lead service line replacement program, Phase A project with Joel Kennedy Construction Company, authorizing removal and replacement of additional 40 lead water services lines in the amount of $784,300. Trustee Frost.
My question on the, where's the money coming from? Are we paying for that? Do we have a grant or is the state reimbursing? Because it was a pretty big contract to start with, 1.2 million or something like that.
So yes.
And now we got another 800.
Yes, so some of that is the low interest loan, but most of it is ARPA funds that's in the water fund. So these are monies, we have over $2 million in the ARPA fund. The ARPA monies in the water fund. So that's what we're using. So actually not monies generated by the taxpayer in this town or from water fees, but money that we got through the county from the feds.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still in the grant
Well,
mode.
that's not our taxpayer money, or it is?
Not local, well.
It is, but
ultimately,
it
it's
is
all taxpayer money.
Right.
You are correct. It's not locally from the.
From the
water
village.
utilities Or tax, or local taxes or sales taxes.
Okay.
They're from ARPA funds that came by way of Washington through Geneva to here.
And I think Director Gray is sick today.
Yeah.
Having sick but last time I talked to him, they did over what, 208
208.
water.
That actually, was a total of 50 left, and I think they're down to 32 remaining.
Yeah, so we're moving quickly. It's awesome. I talked to one of the residents actually last night that had a new water line put in their house on Maple, right next to the old Source house, Mrs. Source. And
know what
Jeff
that's at.
grew up there. And
my grandson.
so they have better water pressure. He said his wife was so happy. Her dishes are coming out of the dishwasher clean. Actually, they probably back up to you. The guy that walks the dog all the time and walks the older guy, but they're very happy with the guys from Kennedy were great. They came in and did the work and communicated well with them. And so,
We're resorting to door knocking to get the last few folks signed up. There's always going to be folks that are resistant to for whatever reason. Eventually, we may have to come back to the board and ask for an ordinance to ask that it's going to have to be done on transfer of the house or something along those lines. So there's always going to be a last few holdups, but just tremendous progress on this and way ahead of many others actually of similar size in terms of getting the lead lines replaced.
President Skillman,
Yeah.
on that note, John, if they were to sell a house and they didn't have their line done, is it on them to pay to have it done, or is it part of escrow, or how's it work?
That would be up to you. If the village board elected to have that mandated be done prior to transfer at the homeowner's expense, that would be
we could talk
the
to
board's
the
discretion.
Thank you.
attorney about that.
Thank you. Bradford?
Something else, President Skillman and trustees, something else that has been done in other communities facing this issue. It's very promising, I think, just the percent of what's been done at this point. Some municipalities have adopted ordinances that basically start assessing a premium to the water bill for those that have not been responsive to the lead line replacement. Just because at some point that is an increased cost to our village and continuing to go after this, as well as what could be consequences of the failure to do so. We could, as Manager O'Sullivan also suggested, we could look at just creating some sort of a restriction on a transfer of property prior to the work being done. I think it's just a question of what the board wants to do. The other consideration with that option, though, is that that could be 20 years from now, right?
Right.
And, I think it's just a question of how much urgency the board sees.
Yeah, I think my question is, if the house goes up for sale, are we gonna know about it? And we're gonna know that the line has been replaced? We'll know that
Well,
before.
we could, sorry, this has gone on a while, but we could replace the lead to the Buffalo box. And then it's lead from the Buffalo box to the owner's house. And at some point when the house goes to transfer, we will know about it.
Very good. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Good question.
If I may, yeah, that could be
Yes.
solved by putting a lien on the property, right, from the village?
Well, we
Estimating
will,
the value of the lead line replacement.
It wouldn't, similar, it wouldn't necessarily be a lien because a lien would be some sort of a penalty or liability owed by the property owner. In that case, it wouldn't be that. It would just be some sort of a restriction we'd record similar to a lien, but not with a financial component.
okay, thank you. Motion, we're looking for a motion on letter E.
I'll motion to approve letter E on the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Trustee Garcia, motion second by trustee Abbott, I believe.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Trustee, excuse me, trustee Frost,
Present.
trustee Malone,
Yes.
trustee Garcia,
Yes.
trustee Sandoval,
Yes.
trustee Abbott,
Yes.
trustee Richardson,
Yes.
President Skillman.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. Next item on new business is approval of ordinance. Corey, you going to come on up? Corey Kelly.
All right, so I know that there's been some issues over at El Diablo. So I had spoken between the city and ownership. And I've been in the bar business for 25 years, specialized in setting up security details and protocols. And so, prior to going in there, I'd mentioned it was one of two things. It would either be the security or, the amount of consumption. And, when I was in there, they're heavily staffed with security. I watched them outside what they were doing. They were, turning people away. They didn't know what I was there for or whatever. So I was there fully observing. Right out of the bat, within 15 minutes, I started watching the bar, and the bartenders are free pouring, not ringing in drinks. So their drinks, count pouring is a 1/4 ounce per pour, and they're pouring, ounce and a quarter is pretty standard, and they're pouring double that on most of them. And so when I brought in, I was over with Marwan, I brought him over there and I had him watching with me. And obviously when an owner realizes how much it's impacting their business, it makes it a little bit more, desirable for them to be responsive. So, my recommendation and, in assessing the security, the only problem that there were initially was that they hired local people, which I'm not really a proponent of, because local guys have a local beef with somebody or let their friends run freely doing things that, whether dealing or whatever else, they're letting underage people and anything like that is a potential problem. So what I suggested is for him to get rid of anybody local. And then as far as the bar goes, is that they need to start using like a jigger, like a pour, and that way they're doing it. So when we were staying there calculating what we observed, it's really probably around $100,000 that he's losing between the bottle cost. They're literally losing double the alcohol, and that's the drinks. And so what I found that the problem is that they didn't have a protocol in place for bottle service. So what I had suggested to him was to establish this, that, an hour and a half beforehand, no, after that hour and a half window before last call, no bottles are served. And it has to be a minimum amount of people. And if somebody, I know they had an incident with somebody that wanted to take a bottle, it's because, again, there's no protocol in place. What I suggest to people is you take a painter's tape or masking tape, tape the bottle off, have the people initial it. And that way, when they come in next time, you say, hey, you can come in, no cover, here's your bottle for you. We had it in back. So in going through, I recommended all of these things, but I think the major thing is the amount of alcohol people are consuming, because then people are irrational. And so, and they can't regulate. If somebody pours, I don't want a heavy drink. I would rather know what I have because otherwise all of a sudden you're sitting there 2 drinks in and it's really 4 drinks. So I think the real eye-opening in speaking with Greg and Marwan both was the amount of money that they're losing. So I did follow up again, and I did know that the security guys that were local are no longer there, and 3 of the bartenders are no longer there. So, again, what my observation is those things, were taken into consideration. But as far as the security goes, I mean, I saw them turning away groups of people, for, right reasons, face tattoos, looking like gang affiliation, any of this type of stuff. And so, but what I also noticed is that the crowd that was in there was dressed very nice. People were having a lot of fun, a lot of mix of older and younger people. But, again, that being said, I think that since that point, that was, towards the end of last year, I think that, things have gone a lot more smoothly for them, as far as what my understanding is. But
And you had a meeting with the police chief, I
I
believe?
did. I spoke in depth with Chief.
So, 1 second, Corey, just so everybody knows, Todd is or Chief Shaver, I'm sorry, is interviewing candidates right now down at Public Works. So he couldn't be here right now tonight since we moved the night.
Yes,
Just so everybody knows.
Sure. I did speak with Chief Shaver in depth also. And, we talked about the concerns and some of the main points you brought up in regards to security is that, police are not there to do the security. The security is there to do the security, and they're there to diffuse the situations, not instigate anything. And, I mean, the reality is whatever name they call you is true. Who cares? Let it all go. You can't have people that are responsive. And there are really times that, more so what I like about police presence is when there's a car there, you just, the people, it's more so about, just them going off. But, for the most part, I think that the security internally should be able to diffuse the situations, get the people out, keep the people out. They did have, a system where, if people are banned, it's noted when they scan their IDs, those things are coming up. But, I think in speaking with the chief, I shared my position and, he was very receptive and, he agreed. I think, again, the big part of it is that it's these, a lot of this is alcohol induced. And, people always have this bad, thing saying, well, nothing good happens after 1 or 2 or whatever it may be. But, I ran 4 o'clock bars, had 5 o'clock bar, also. And, what we really catered to was, 5 o'clock. And so we really catered to is in Chicago, but, we really catered to is industry people. I think if you market to that, that's really what it should be. And that was my recommendation as well, because not only are people from the restaurants locally, supporting it, because you have those places right there, it's keeping the money in the community. And now you're working with those people who are coming out, because after work, in all truthfulness, if you've ever worked in a bar restaurant, you're dealing with people that are annoying you all night long, and you really want to have a drink and get away from those people because they pissed you off and been, last thing you want to do is deal with that. So I think from that regards, and it's, there's not really a destination place, but I heard things about it before I ever went in there, before I ever knew Marwan, from a friend of mine that installed the security, and from his standpoint, they have the most premier security system, reading license plates and everything that anybody he's ever installed. I go, yeah, I just hear bad things about it. And when I went there, I'm like, maybe it was at one point, but when I went there, I was like, man, it was fun. People were great. The DJ was great. And, again, they really did a good job. But I just think a lot of these things, it's, I see it from a different perspective because I've been in the business for a long time. And before I went in there, I'm like, it's alcohol security. And I don't think the security is the problem. I think the security is dealing with the problem as a result of these bartenders that are no longer there.
Great. Thank you. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Nothing good happens after 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning.
Midnight.
We've all heard that. I like that. And it's the truth. It's the truth. When a bar closes at 2 o'clock, if they have a 2 o'clock license, everyone's got out of the bar at 2 o'clock, correct? Is that correct?
Yes.
15, right? Our code is.
Technically, they could stay on premises for 15 minutes and still consume the beverage, but they couldn't be served more than 15 minutes before that closing time. So 1:45, they'd have to be done drinking by 2:15.
Okay. And you were in there at that time?
Yes.
I also had a conversation with Chief of Police today. Asked how many police are on duty at night during those hours. Minimum of 5 with a supervisor, up to as many as 8. We've got a town of 38,000 people, and this is one establishment. I think that we've gone through this, and this was voted down in the past, and I thought it was a done deal. And now we're bringing it up again for the 3rd or 4th or 5th time. After 2 o'clock in the morning, people are feeling pretty good, in my opinion. For another hour, 2 or 3 more drinks might put them in a bad spot. I think that the pressure on the cops, the pressure on the town, pressure on the taxpayers of this town, for a 3 o'clock license is unacceptable in my mind. I'm curious as to what the hours of operation are currently, Monday through Sunday.
Or do you know?
Right now, they're currently closing at 2 o'clock and,
Opening at what time?
oh, what time?
4 o'clock in the afternoon? No lunch crowd. So we're waiting for everybody to come in and drink, basically. I had a conversation with village attorney also today. I had several questions to ask. He answered all my questions. Was I happy with the answers? No. Yes. Okay. He did a good job. With reading the agenda, it says fiscal impact. The staff does not see more than a de minimis financial impact in terms of sales tax revenue. I'm guessing that means that that's minimal money coming into the village after 2 a.m. That would be my guess, as far as de minimis meaning, correct? Bradford?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Like I said a minute ago, we went over this and it was a done deal. A 3 o'clock license, I don't think there's any use for it. Therefore, I'll be voting no on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, if I may, President Skillman.
Yeah, yeah.
I am a business owner in this town, as everybody knows. I'm a firm believer that no government agency should tell us how to operate our business and how to make money. At the end of the day, we are bringing revenue to the village, not the village bringing revenue to us. I am a yes for this one. And I'm sorry that it's only 6 special events.
President Skillman,
Yes.
I'll just like, before we vote, when you said nothing good happens after 2 a.m.,
Mhm.
that's true. I mean, you were in the bar business. I was in a rock band for many, many years. I know what happens after 2 o'clock. It's not good. I don't think we need it in our town because I don't believe the risk to our first responders and our residents is worth any perceived benefit to the village. That's my opinion, and that'll explain my vote.
Yeah, I mean.
I agree with Trustee Frost. This is the 3rd time we're going through this. Really?
This amendments, I want to say that it says here that it's only for 6 special events. Is that correct?
That's correct, Trustee Evans.
So there would be 6 special events only that this would be open till 3. Is that true?
Correct.
It would be measured by calendar year as drafted, that a Class E license holder could have up to 6 events following all the parameters.
And to get this to work, you would have to apply for it so we would know when these events are. Is that true?
30 days.
It would be, as Trustee Frost indicated, it would require the license holder, and to be clear, this isn't specific to one establishment, even though I know we're talking on behalf of one presenter here. This would be any Class E liquor license holder. The basic parameters is they would have to apply with the village through administrative staff 30 days in advance. At that point, it's reviewed by the liquor commissioner, who's President Skillman, to address any additional security concerns, at which point it would be presented to the village board if the village board wanted to grant any one of the 6 special event extended licenses from what would otherwise be 2 a.m. to 3 a.m., a maximum of 6 times in a calendar year.
President Skillen, may I ask one more question?
Yes.
Excuse me. Has any other establishments asked for a later liquor license in the town?
No, not since Baroni's was in town. They did in the past. But they didn't have any security measures in place. So they were a big no. Plus they did it without a license. And that's why they're not in business anymore, pretty much.
President Skillman, my question is when you said 6 of them, right? Now what happens after they use their 6? Will they be able to come in and say, let's say they want to do a 7th one? Would they be able to come in and ask for a 7th one? Or would they be able to come in and ask for a 3 a.m. license?
As the ordinance is drafted, Trustee Richardson, the 6 would be a hard cap as stated within the village code. As with anything, we can't rule out the possibility of the board choosing a different direction in the future, but as it would be written, as drafted, presented to you this evening, it would be a hard cap of 6 in the calendar year, so they couldn't come back and ask for 7.
Okay.
And we're still in our rights to address if there's a problem, obviously. As the liquor commissioner, I have to address it. If there's an issue, they're selling underage or anything like that, then that's a problem, as we all know. So then we would be dealing with that. So.
President Skillman, one more thing. I just want to repeat one thing that I said earlier. The stress that it puts on the police force when they could be out someplace else, patrolling the streets, doing whatever they do. I'm not a cop. I'm a laborer. It puts the added stress on them to monitor, make sure things don't go awry. I just don't think that it's a good idea for the village of Carpentersville and its residents. Thank you.
Yeah, and with that, again, that's why Corey's here tonight to explain the audit. Basically, we called it the audit. So and the police chief reviewed it and they met with him. I was not involved in that meeting at all, but I did get the information back, but so, and as Corey stated, I believe, that we're trying to eliminate the police from being there at all. With the real security, they were friends with people, it looked like before, and they were overpouring. So Corey believes that we won't have the problems that we were having,
Well, the thing is,
that we
again,
had once.
if you gear towards, because a lot of people too, with any place later, it's not people coming out there at 4 o'clock after work that are staying there drinking the entire night. Other measures we've put in the past. I worked in Aurora in the 90s, and there was a lot of gang problems there in a place. So we did is the police were paid by the ownership, or the village was paid by the ownership to have, a police car there, and it was at the owner's cost, and they had to pay the overtime and such. So, there's a lot of measures that have been done, but again, when you operate it right, if there weren't those problems, we wouldn't have been here in the first place, but it's overcoming those problems and looking at it. But, there's, regardless if they have a 3 o'clock license or not, now they're now doing that milk pail, and Life Zone's doing it in a lot of other places. And so people are still going to be, coming through here. But, again, there's, just from what I observed, that's what I was asked to do. And, I saw the problems and, just made my, report.
One more thing. With my conversation I had with the chief today, I asked him, has there been issues since it went from 3 o'clock to 2 o'clock? And he told me no. There has not been any issues since we voted down the 3 o'clock back to 2 o'clock. There's been no police issues. So, I mean, I appreciate everything that you've said, Corey. Thank you.
No problem.
One other thing, as far as the amount of alcohol being poured, that's a management issue,
Oh,
as far as I'm concerned.
no, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. And that starts at the top. That's something that needs to be addressed for sure. I mean, and I'm not a business owner. I don't want to own a bar.
Right. Well, I mean, a lot of times it's too, is that, people are trusting the people and not, there are these little things that if you don't bartend and you haven't done it, you don't know. And it's like when you're watching people do these things and it's like, part of the problem is that you're trusting your staff, and you're there on top of it. There's so many things going on. You're at the door, you're going around, you're doing all stuff. And the problem too, a lot of owners are drinking, he doesn't drink at all. And, those are things that make a difference. But, when you're trusting the people that are there or, maybe implementing the right manager or other things like this, it's like, but I think the eye-opening part is when you realize how much money you're losing. And not only are you losing it, but then it's also the sales tax and everything else.
If I may, President Skillman,
Yeah.
just so everybody knows, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows, there's over 7,500 hours in a year. We're asking for 6 hours only. That is not an issue.
I'd like to comment on it. It is an issue. It's very much an issue after 2 o'clock in the morning, whether it's six hours in a year. It's 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. in the morning. That's the point. So in my mind, that is an issue. I don't care if there's 10,000 hours in a year. We even got an extra day this year. How about that? But in my mind, it's still AM. And my concern is the Village of Carpentersville's residents. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. So I'm looking for a motion.
Motion to approve the special ordinance for legal code permitting the extension of hours for limited special events.
I'll second.
A motion by trustee Garcia, second by trustee Sandoval. Roll call, please.
Trustee Frost,
No.
trustee Malone,
No.
trustee Garcia,
Yes.
trustee Sandoval,
Yes.
trustee Abbott,
Yes.
trustee Richardson,
Yes.
President Skillman.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, next item on the agenda, closed session. We're going to be looking for a motion to enter closed session to discuss pending and probable litigation and purchase of real property pursuant to 5 ILCS 120-2-C/5+11.
Motion to move to closed session.
A second.
Your motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
I should roll call.
Roll call, I'm sorry. Roll call, please.
Trustee Frost,
Yes.
trustee Malone,
Yes.
trustee Garcia,
Yes.
trustee Sandoval,
Yes.
trustee Abbott,
Yes.
trustee Richardson,
Yes.
President Skillman.
Yes. All right. We'll move to closed session.
Blood's on